All right, guys, Copper Cutlass here, reporting. We're recording. Yes. No. It's Friday. I'm kind of doing my prep work, just like last week, for tomorrow's work. I'm removing some wires. You can see the wires there on that side of the fender. Those are all specific to the Sniper EFI. I'm removing those pretty much as a single harness like they came in, and I'm pretty much going to treat the install of the Sniper again like ground zero, because now that I'm going to have the car apart, it's going to be more ideal to route my wires a different way. So I'm clipping off all the wires at all my splices and keeping the original section of that harness, and then I will be soldering in at a later time when we do the hookup. Now I'm doing something different because I've realized that I've been almost GM A-body centric, right? So I've pretty much done a lot of work to my Cutlass, and I do a lot of things off of memory, like bolts, and I can literally take my car apart and put it back together and have all the bolts in one bucket for like the doors, the fenders, and know where everything goes, right? Well, this car, I think the last time I put these fenders on was when I put them on, so I don't know where all the bolts are, where they go. And the beauty of mid-70s GM cars is when they were going to metric, this car has a beautiful combination of standard and metric bolts. Something a little unique to those transitional years with GM cars where they were going to metric. So what I'm doing is, like, I'm marking off my battery positive to the solenoid, my start wire to the starter from the solenoid, my alternator cables, because again, on this car, I figured out these wires years ago, but I didn't make anything of it because I in my mind, I knew this car wasn't going to have the constant fucking with like I do with my Cutlass, where I constantly change things. So again, I think this car is going to be a very unique project because I kind of have to do things that I normally don't do, like marking down wires, which is something I really don't do. Now, on modern cars at work, I don't really mark wires unless it's something specific, because most of the time harnesses are pinned a certain way to where it's almost impossible to screw it up when you do like an engine swap on a modern car, which an engine swap on a modern car scares people, but really if you're just swapping an engine, it's super easy because it's almost impossible to screw up the wiring. And on these cars, you can easily screw up wires because you got like 3 eyelets that are the same size. Like my starter eyelet and my alternator eyelet and my, there's another eyelet over here. They're all the same size. You know, you got multiple spade connectors, the same spade connectors, as a distributor. And although I have a lot of these things memorized to make it easy, I'm going to just mark a couple of things on. That's kind of what I'm doing tonight. And then tomorrow, I'm going to blow the front end off this car, so we're going to take off the fenders, the fender wells, which they're steel on this car, which they suck, they're heavy, but it is what it is. I'm going to take all that stuff out, the core support, the headlights, all that crap, because again, we're going to be doing the framework on this car, and I want everything out of the way. And then I'm also going to be redoing this HVAC unit on the firewall. We're going to be shaving that off, making it nice, but I'm not just going to do a flat panel. Everybody does a flat panel and it looks ugly. You need something there. It's like having Midwestern plains directly next to a mountain. I guess that's a lot of what Arizona is, but either way, you guys get what I'm saying. To me, it looks ugly when somebody just slaps a flat piece of sheet metal on there. So we're going to give this some character, and it's going to, I want it to look nice. And so yeah, that's this weekend's goal, is to get this the sheet metal off, the fender wells, all this stuff, and all this stuff's gonna go in my basement. As you guys can see, I cleaned up. Engine's over off to the side, the transmission's under the bench, all the small odds and ends, distributor, alternator, everything's up there. All my hardware is up there. I separated some of the bolts. Some of the specific bolts I know, like bell housing, stuff like that. So that's the goal this weekend. And then by the end of the month, I really want to be doing the framework pretty much. So second week of April, we got 3 more. The last day of April, Did I say April? I meant January. So, no. So I want to be doing the framework by the last week of January. That gives me 3 weeks. I really don't have much left to do once we get the sheet metal off. But I do have to remove some of the interior because some of the body bolts are underneath the carpet. So I got to take the seats out, the front buckets, the rear seat. I have to remove the carpet. I have to drop the gas tank, remove all the lines because I don't want anything flammable down there while we're doing this. And again, another thing I plan on doing, which is going to be an added cost I thought about today, was I plan on redoing the fuel system since I'm running the Sniper. And the unique thing about this platform is that this platform was used from 1977 until pretty much 1995 almost. It's really considered 91, I think, was the last year where they used this body platform. But I think I'm going to be able to get away with using like a 95 Impala gas tank in the back. It's just a thought. I don't know 100% for sure yet, but I'm going to go to a junkyard and take some measurements. I mean, the 91 and 96 squad cars or taxis. The 91 and 96 B bodies are all over wrecking yards. They're plentiful. So I'm going to go out to a junkyard and measure a tank and then measure my dimensions here and see if that works. And then I'm going to buy a new one from Dorman. They're only $150. And my idea behind that is right now I'm using an inline fuel pump for the Sniper. If I get to use that newer gas tank from like a 95, ideally I want like a 94 to 96. I get to use the nice intake pump, and I'll plumb it in, and it'll be nice, clean, nothing in the frame, kind of factory style, and it's a lot better when you have the fuel pump in the tank. Right now I'm running an inline pump, which works, but you know, the fuel cools down the fuel pump, and it gets more longevity that way. Keeps away from exhaust heat and all that stuff. So that's one of the things. But yes, after this weekend, hopefully the car is pretty much just ready to lift it off. I'm going to need a second cherry picker, which I got somebody who I'm probably going to borrow one from. Eric, if you're watching, I need your cherry picker. So you should probably pick up that hood that's up there and bring by your cherry picker in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, we're going to need 2 cherry pickers for this job. I've done this before. The idea is going to be to just lift the body up high enough to put some 4x4s on each corner, and then from there, and by each corner, I mean I'm going to buy like some 8-foot long 4x4s and stuff in between the frame, and then we're going to jack up the body and leave the 4x4s on jack stands and roll the body out from underneath. Now, I may have to remove the wheels and get some dollies. I don't know yet, obstacle just yet. When we did it on my Cutlass, we did not move the frame from underneath the car. But I am thinking that for this situation, I want to roll out the frame because I might do the welding somewhere else. I don't know what that game plan is yet. Again, it's all in planning, and it's the craziest thing because when I did the framework on the Cutlass, when I fixed it, nothing moved. So we raised the car up. We used cinder blocks. It was sketchy as all hell, but we left the cherry pickers intact just to catch it if anything would happen. And it was a 1 weekend job. We literally lifted the body off on Friday. I had the body back on Monday. I don't want to have this be an extended project. I just need to weld up the frame. So hopefully it can be kind of the same thing, but the difference is that I am in the middle of like my busy period at work, so I am solely depending on my weekends here, and it's a little different when we're not using like a 3-day weekend. And it was the same kind of prep work when I did the Cutlass, where I kind of took a good chunk of a month to get everything ready. I took my time. I made sure nothing was going to be a snag, and then when it came time to take the body off, it came right off. So that's the end goal here, is to be able to knock out that work, and then sometime by the end of February have everything mated back together, and in March take care of all the mechanicals, which we might take care of sooner because the transmission I have all the seals for. I have a stockpile of transmission parts, and then the engine isn't going to need a lot. We're putting a new timing chain. We're going to go to adjustable valve train and new seals, new paint, clean it up. That's about it. Nothing crazy. And then the rear end is probably going to be the most expensive thing to tackle. Getting a completely brand new posi unit from Detroit. We're going to use a Detroit True Tracks on there, and new gear, install kit. It adds up fast on that end. So, and then we're going to be doing control arms on this thing too. So the control arms I'm going to be making. That's going to be a nice project. Me and my buddy are going to take on that. We're probably going to do that video over at his place. But it's very basic to make your own control arms. Just some, common fabricator stuff. There's nothing fancy about making your own rear control arms. At least the fronts might be a little different depending on what you're going to do. But we're going to tackle the rears because we got nothing to really make in the front. But if we wanted to, we could. My buddy's got a tube bender, but we're not going to go. So either way, guys, follow along. Tomorrow we're going to do more filming like we did last week. Today I'm just kind of doing an update from what we did last week and what I got going on today. So I figure I'd fill you guys in because that video we posted up last weekend after we filmed was just straight work. And I like that. Hopefully you guys like it. Share, like, subscribe, give me your feedback, give me your opinions, let me know. I'm here to show what I'm doing, but I also like to get feedback from you guys. And if you guys need any tips or suggestions or anything, you guys ask away. I made that other video not too long ago about helping a guy out, which I got some parts I got to ship to him hopefully tomorrow. I've been really busy with work. So, like I said, share, like, subscribe, follow, comment. Tell your buds. Thank you for watching.